Guys, we're back with another episode of the Pelican Sports Report, live from the dugout and visiting with a great friend of the program, great friend of mine. It is head coach for the Peabody Warhorses and Jamar Washington. Jamar, welcome.
How you doing?
Look, this is wonderful. I appreciate you stopping by.
No problem, man. No problem.
Look, you guys were just finishing up the 7v7 this year, that Sinla one, and looked like there was a lot of success out there.
Yeah, this definitely was a great year of 7-on-7. I think you look at us last year. I think we maybe 3 games last year,
Right.
but it was a quick, good turnaround. You know, I saw a lot of progress. I saw a lot of good things and things that we've improved on, but I still see things that we need to continue to work on.
We talked off the air a little bit about how important it was to have the length of time with the kids that you've had. You're not just coming off the spring and into it this year. You've had some time with everybody to learn the program, but more importantly, the program to learn you.
Right, definitely. I think last year, when I first got the job and everything, I came here in the summer.
Right.
It was mid-June, so that's talking about missing spring, the off season, and with football, off season starts as soon as the season ends.
Sure does.
So being able to get right to work as soon as the season ended this year, and having a good successful spring as well, I think that helped build, and we went on right into June, just clicking and rolling from there.
Look, how important, and again, we talked about this earlier, but how important is that consistency to the kids from the head coach spot?
I think the main thing with consistency is longevity.
Right.
You look at it, man, the last few years, we've had a coach, maybe, I think the most a coach has been there is 3 years.
Right.
Even when I was there, I went through 3 head coaches.
Wow.
So just being able to be here, for as long as God allows me to be here for the kids, also being able to be like, hey, I remember you coaching up your brother, things like that. I want to be able to tell those stories of how your brother was, or how your nephew, or how your cousin was, things like that. So I think that's very important in building culture, building culture and just being consistent.
What was the main thing in your playing time when you went through 1 coach, 2 coach, and played for your 3rd head coach? What was it as a team that you did to have to learn different things that were going on?
It taught us. I'm gonna be honest, man. I think my first time when we went from first head coach to the 2nd head coach, it was just coming together as a team.
Right.
No matter who was going to be the head coach, we were going to continue to be who we were, work on the same goal, that was winning the championship and getting to college. So we weren't going to let that slow down anything. So whenever there were no workouts, we were still working out on our own. But I think one thing that that helped us do was build team chemistry, to teach us to have each other's backs. But also, it was a struggle,
right?
Having to learn new things, not knowing what to expect more than anything. But seeing that there was a coach that was here for our best interest, I think that's what helped ease it and made us buy in a little quicker than needed to be.
Look, and the first thing that you did when you got here is you started building and bringing some guys in with you on the staff too. Tell us about some of the guys that are there coaching with you.
Definitely people that that I've played with, but also
Right.
was able to trust. Building a good staff of people who are committed. Committed coaches. My main thing is hiring coaches who want to excel or elevate in the coaching world.
Right.
So being able to have a coach who wants to be a head coach, maybe wants to go from a position coach to a coordinator position, those are guys who are committed and willing to put in the work to get to that level.
Look, I love it, and you see, we were able to visit with some of them during the 7v7, and they've all got that fire. Everybody is good. Nobody's taking a play off, just like I got to believe you expect from your players. These coaches aren't taking a play
Right.
off.
No, not at all. And we're preaching, like our motto for this year is believe in the unbelievable,
Right.
doing the impossible. So if you can believe you can make that play, you believe you can make that tackle, it's our job as coaches to believe that we can coach you to put you in position to be successful.
Well, you guys have an opportunity this year. You make the move from 4A to 5A and jump into a pretty tough district this season. But I think it's going to measure these kids because you talk about getting into college. What does it mean playing that type of competition?
It definitely causes us, we're going into one of the toughest districts in Louisiana football.
That's right.
Along with the Catholic League. So that causes everyone to elevate, not just the coaches, but the players as well. So it's like you could complain about it or you could step up to the plate. And I think it's going to cause us to elevate more than anything.
What does it do for this community, though, when you've got a Peabody and a Nash, Peabody and Pineville, those games that are coming on? You'll have a West Monroe come in and Ruston come in, but localized teams getting to play big matchups like that. What does that mean for the community?
think that's big, man, because it brings in everyone to the same spot. Usually when you have those Friday night games, everybody's spaced out in Central Louisiana. But with us being in the same district and having each other on the schedule, I think that's going to be big for all of the programs, but as well as community, because it's like a house divided. We're here.
Absolutely.
We're here for district time, but we all have the same goal in mind, and that's to win.
Well, and you have a husband that played for went to one school, a wife that went to the other, one kid that may have went to this school. There's a lot of that house divided that you talk about, and man, it's on display every Friday night.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
All right, so last interview that I had in here, I got grief for not having any Southern swag in the place there too. You of course went to Southern and played football down there. What is that experience like getting to that next level?
It's definitely a grind. Like I tell my kids, man, mandatory workouts aren't enough.
Right.
So you show up at your morning workout and think that's enough. That's not going to get you where you need to be. You have to be consistent. You have to have a hard work ethic, because when you get to that level, it's a business. It's a business, and nobody's going to be holding your hand. Like, you're going to have time off.
Right.
What you do with that time off is up to you, but that matters, because then they come back and. You come back, let's say we have a week or two off for fall camp. You come back for fall camp. What are you doing for that time to prepare you for a fall camp? If you slack, then it shows, because everybody else is working.
Right.
And just teaching the kids that work ethic and holding each other accountable, but also being a pro before becoming a pro. And that's the main thing.
That's just huge, man. That's heavy today. That's good stuff. So how does that change now with the 5-for-5 in the Division I that's out there? This transfer portal, this NIL. You said it was a business when you were there. It's quite a different business today.
And that's what makes it even more personal for these kids, because now everything you do matters.
Right.
There's no such thing. He's just a freshman. That freshman has to be ready to roll. There's no such thing as I have time next year. No, because your clock is ticking, and now it's harder because most coaches aren't recruiting high school kids.
That's right.
They're recruiting out of Porter. So you're talking about a sophomore or a senior, a 2027 kid who's recruiting for that same scholarship that a guy with 3 years of college experience is working for. So that's why those details and everything matter. That's why you have to be elite. You have to be at an elite talent to get to that next level.
Let's talk about some of the levels in college, because you're familiar with a lot of it. You've got a brother that plays at the NAIA level here locally at LCU, and there are different levels. What do you tell somebody that's just got delusions of I want to be a D1 guy? There's a lot of good football at a lot of different levels.
Man, my biggest thing is, if you have an opportunity to play football, take it. That's just like coming out of college saying, I want to play in the NFL. No, if you have an opportunity to play professional football, take it. Because not too many people can say, I played college football, I played professional football. I didn't go to the NFL, but I went to the XFL.
Right.
I still had the opportunity to say, I played professional football.
That's right.
So, as times are changing now, you have to take advantage of any little opportunity that you get to continue to further your playing career.
I love it. Look, let's look at returners for this year real quick, and you'll find out a little bit more about all of this. We've got our big Centerline preview that's coming out here before you know it, so stay tuned for that. But let's give us a brief look into what the 2026 Warhorses look like.
Man, we have a good returning class of starters, and we were fairly young last year.
Right.
With a heavy dose of our starters being sophomores. But I'm excited to see what these guys, like the guys are becoming seniors with Jonathan Hargrove, Malik Jackson. Those are two leaders on the team. One on offense, one on the defense side. Then, Zayden Bolden he's grown over the offseason, from the last game against Wasserman to where he's at now. He's definitely grown. He's learned. He's matured a little bit more. And then, you have your guys on the defense and that secondary who are gelling together. But we still are young, and that's the exciting thing about it. And I think the future is definitely bright for years to come.
They tell you that the biggest improvement comes from week 1 to week 2. I think we're seeing it from year 1 to year 2 with what you're doing over there, because everybody's starting to see, one, the excitement and the electricity that you brought as a player, but they're seeing it as a coach, and it looks like they're buying in. I saw a lot more of it this summer on the 77.
Definitely. And like I say, man, I preach, just being consistent. Consistency, consistent in showing up, consistent in doing your job. Everybody has a 111. Do your job to the best of your ability. Everybody has a different role. You may not be the guy who's going to score the touchdowns, but you may be the guy that helps set up the touchdown,
Right.
So just embracing in your role and taking advantage of every opportunity, because opportunities come back full circle. But are you going to be ready?
Man, guys, we're excited about this football season. Coach Jamar Washington, the Peabody Warhorses. Coach, thank you for stopping by. And look, the door's open for you at all times. Now we just have to get some Peabody gear and some Southern gear in here, and we're getting there. Definitely. Jamar Washington, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Guys, we'll be back for another episode before you know it. Until then, we'll see you.